Welcome back to Smash Ultimate. So, the world of darkness is very different to the world of light in that, in the way it's designed, it's just 3 very straight shot paths, with each one ending with a dungeon. And now, we're going on the rightmost path. First spirit we're battling is Gamora, an infernal demon, the Divine Devourer, as it's referred to, appearing in the Bayonetta series. It's also Bayonetta's final smash, and turns on her in the game Bayonetta 2. So yeah. Gamora is actually one of the few attacks in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that will actually provide an instant KO if you are over 100 damage. So that's terrifying. Far less terrifying is this crazy hand, since I've already fought one of these. Doing. There we go. And we deal with it the same way we did before. Although this time I did it with the Master Blades, so that was a Smash Bros boss versus a Smash Bros boss there. There we go. So, moving on from there, we have Crazy Hand here explode. And then we can progress. There is a cave down here I do want to quickly detour into first, because it leads us straight to Gravity Man. Appearing in Mega Man 5, Gravity Man is a robot master who can, as his name implies, control gravity. And the ability Mega Man gets from him is Gravity Hold, which essentially flings all enemies on screen up into the air and then down to the ground, destroying the weaker enemies. So, yeah, to represent the idea of gravity being messed with, we have a stage where gravity flits between being very low and very high. And that is also the nature of his training style. You can use it to make yourself float in the air, essentially, with each jump. Give that to a character who can fly, like Kirby or Pit. You can basically stay in the air nearly indefinitely, so you know, that can have its, definitely have its pros. If you're trying to survive for oh so long in a battle, perhaps, then that could definitely work out for you. Anyway, moving on, we have this place full of gears, and we have Kracko. Appearing in the first Kirby's Dream Land, Kracko is a reoccurring boss in the Kirby series. Kracko is a sentient cloud that can spawn in waddle-doos to attack you with their own beams, to go alongside the, you know, electricity and rain-based attacks. So to represent that, we have DDD playing Kracko, which makes sense since DDD is also a reoccurring Kirby boss. And you got the 2 Pikachus to step in, not only as, you know, catalysts of electricity, but, you know, arguably also as waddle-doo stand-ins. Anyway, that is that. Get dunked. There goes Kracko. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that I absolutely love the aesthetic of this area. With all of the clouds and the gears and such. It's all very, gives like a weird kind of steampunk old western feel. But speaking of western, here is the Wild Gunman. So the Wild Gunman appears in the NES game of the same name. A game that you played with the NES Zapper. Now the Smash character who embodies the NES Zapper is the Duck Hunt duo, along with their mysterious gunman. So for this battle, you basically have a bunch of quick draws. You have to quickly grab a weapon, if you are so inclined, and shoot them before you get shot yourself. Of all the battles in Smash Ultimate, that's the one that feels most like an old Western duel, and I love it. And somehow I won it on my first try. Here we have some snacks, and here we have the 3 sacred treasures from the Kid Icarus series. To be more specific, the Arrows of Light, the Mirror Shield, and the Wings of Pegasus. These are the 3 items that Pit collects, all created by Dintos, and uses them to defeat both Medusa and Hades. Even in the original Kid Icarus, you had to collect all of these items in order to proceed to the final boss battles, so yeah. The other major appearance of the 3 sacred treasures, though, was actually in Smash Bros. 4. So Pit is very unique in the Smash series in that he's the only character whose final smash has changed 3 times. In the original Smash Brawl, he summoned Centurions. Smash 4, he brought out the 3 Sacred Treasures. And in this game, he uses his Lightning Chariot. So yeah, ironically, they can't actually represent Pit using the treasures, because he doesn't have them in this game. He no longer has access to that final smash. Oh well, here is Loki, appearing in Bayonetta 2 as an ally character. Loki is the good reincarnation of the god Aesir. And yeah, Loki has the ability to manipulate time. So to represent that, we have Sheik, whose ninja-like movements and reflexes are very Loki-esque. We have Sheik turning invisible to represent Loki's innate, trickery and illusory abilities. And on top of that, we have the clocks. Bastard clocks that spawn in and slow down time to represent Loki's time abilities. Of course, clocks in Smash Bros. Can incredibly backfire on you and slow time for yourself, so even if you're somehow struggling with this battle, Loki will slow himself down eventually. And that's your opportunity. Here's a treasure chest. Couple of spirit points there, can't go wrong. And here we have a little bit of a labyrinth where you have to go in the right entrances and exits. But first, the Meta Knights. Yes, Meta Knight from the Kirby series actually leads a unit, and they're called the Meta Knights. Who's to say that Meta Knight's particularly good at naming things? Anyway, they've been around since the first Kirby's Adventure as reoccurring, horde-based boss fights. And yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get from this battle. You're just taking on a horde of Meta Knights, all of whom have their own different weapons and methods of attacking you. But yeah, that said, with all of the items spawning in and the fact that I'm playing as the Nightmare Wizard, this fight's not going to be particularly hard for me. I have quite a few options at my disposal. In fact, I just need to do one more hit. There we go. That's all I needed. And moving straight on, we have Ampharos, the fully evolved form of Flaffy and Mareep, which itself does have a Mega Evolution. Ampharos, in its base form, is a pure electric type Pokemon, and always confused me as a kid because in its design it kind of looks like a dragon, even though it's actually a hairless sheep. And apparently there is a folklore-based reason for that. It's about a story of a sheep that turns into a dragon. Anyway, within Pokemon Gold and Silver, Ampharos does appear, one named Amphi, atop the lighthouse in Olivine City. This particular Ampharos is sick and needs medicine. And without its medicine, it's not able to use its powerful tail bulb in order to, set a light for the nearby sailors. Which is kind of what Ampharoses are generally used for in Pokemon. Anyway, moving down here, we have Quickman. Appearing in Mega Man 2, Quickman is, I don't think it's controversial to say this, the most difficult robot master to beat in that game, because his level is just full of instant death laser bullshit, and he himself is incredibly quick and throws boomerangs everywhere. So guess how they're representing that in this battle? I'll tell you how. Boomerangs. Lots and lots of boomerangs. Thankfully, they didn't make him, actually quicker as well, because that would be a lot to deal with. It would be a clusterfuck of a fight, more so than it already is. But yeah, that's Quickman for you. Alrighty, so moving on. Good lord, this particular spot of the game's confusing. What entrance leads to where? That's the big question. Well, came back on myself, back down here. Oh, hello. Here is Omega Ridley. So, appearing in Metroid Prime 3, Omega Ridley is what happens if you infuse Meta Ridley, who himself is already, a biomechanical recreation of Ridley, with Phazon, the all-corrupting force that appears in the Metroid Prime series and that Dark Samus is quite literally made of. It turns him into an absolute monster, more so than he already is. He just becomes incredibly powerful and dangerous, with his most notable feature being his kinetic breath. And to represent the kinetic breath, we have him constantly spouting out flames. Oh boy, if not for my you know, Spirit's ability to absorb damage by shielding, you know, this would be a right pisser of a fight. Not that it isn't one anyway, so yeah. Anyway, this fight did take me a good couple of cracks, but this one ended particularly interestingly. Yep, Ridley just kind of killed himself by landing in the lava, which I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not going to look that gift horse in the mouth. Here is Lucina. Lucina appears as the daughter of Crom in Fire Emblem Awakening. She appears a few chapters into the game under the alias Marth, and yeah, much to the confusion of Crom, she is wielding the Falchion, the one-of-a-kind blade that is passed down, you know, to members of the royal family. Later in the game, he meets up with her again and realizes that she is in fact his time-traveling daughter from the future, who's come back to stop the apocalypse. In terms of how she functions as a character, she's one-to-one exactly the same as Marth, except the tip of her blade doesn't do more damage than the base of her blade. It's all even, which makes for a good, well-balanced character, if not a very boring one. Like an Echo Fighter that has so little difference from the base form that arguably she didn't even need her in character slot. In fact, she goes by the name Marth when you first meet her, so it could have been like a Bowser Jr. in the Koopaling situation. Anyway, here is Grey Fox. Grey Fox is a cyborg ninja appearing in the Metal Gear Solid series. He has superhuman speeds, and yeah, for this fight, you have to spend more of your effort dealing with the assist trophy of him that appears than the actual Sheik who is playing him, because he is a tenacious son of a bitch. What I will say, though, is that the actual image of Grey Fox that is being used in Smash Ultimate isn't actually of him. It's of Raiden wearing the Grey Fox costume that you can get as DLC in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. So that's a very strange oversight. But then again, I guess it kind of makes sense because, you know, Raiden became a cyborg ninja very much in the same vein as Grey Fox. So yeah, an enemy in the first Metal Gear Solid and an ally in later ones. Let's check out the next dungeon. Dracula's Castle. And you know what? I finally did it. Sat down and watched Netflix Castlevania. It's fucking fantastic. We'll get into that later. Here is the Re-Dead. Re-Deads appear in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and they're fucking horrifying. So they appear in the game, like, even when you're, like, young Link, even when you're a kid, they can be found in the tombs of the Hyrulean family. Later in the game, they're roaming around everywhere. If you go near them, they shriek at you, you freeze in fear, and then they eat your fucking brains out. That's why those Mewtwo's were constantly trying to stun me. And, yeah, don't need any of that in my life. Good thing I had the King of Evil to curb stomp all of them. So this dungeon functions very interestingly. It's all about essentially utilizing these cannons and these cannonballs to destroy these dark spirits. But before that, we have another battle. We have Houndoom, the evolved form of Houndour, which itself, again, has a Mega Evolution. Houndoom is a fire and dark type Pokemon, and is one of the glassiest of cannons. First appearing in Generation 2. The Pokemon can be absolutely devastating, you know, late into a battle when, you know, all of your heavy walls have been worn down. And he can just tear through your team with incredibly powerful dark and fire-type moves. And within the actual lore of Pokemon, Houndooms are terrifying. One of the descriptors of them in one of the Pokedex entries at one point states that if you get burned by Houndoom's flames, the pain will never go away. That's existentially terrifying. The idea of being in, like, constant burning pain. Like, holy shit, that's rough. So, yeah. Anyway, to get that idea across in this battle, we have constant fucking flames, which makes it quite hard to actually land any goddamn blows if you're not wearing a reflector, or if you don't utilize the reflector yourself. So, in retrospect, yeah, Lucario here wasn't the great option. Oops. That said, I'm here now, and battle's gone on long enough, so I just need to get that clean finisher. Or just have the level, you know, do the kill for me, because this goddamn incarnation of the Kalos Pokemon League is so goddamn dangerous, with all of the goddamn flames everywhere. Yeah, holy shit. So, blow up the evil spirit, and at any point you can go back to the hourglass and it resets this whole area. Not the entire dungeon, just this area. So next up, we have Nightman, appearing in Mega Man 6. Nightman is one of the few robot masters who is specifically built for combat. He wields a spiked mace called the Night Crusher, which, you know, is kind of perfect for being played by Simon Belmont, who himself wields a spiked mace, i.e. the vampire killer. So yeah. Anyway, fight's not too particularly hard. I like how we're fighting in the Fire Emblem stage to get across the idea of knights. And there we go. So let's have a little play with this. Spin that around. Oh, that's giving me entry. And here we have a Medusa head. Medusa heads are reoccurring enemies in the Castlevania series, and they're designed to punish you for playing the game too brashly, for running forward and trying to barrel through your problems. The Medusa heads are perfectly designed to flitter about in a way that if you're not putting all your focus into taking them out and approaching slowly and carefully, you will get your shit kicked in by them. And yeah, to represent that idea, we had Meta Knight, who himself was being the Medusa head, and all of these little Mewtwo's who are representing the snakes. On top of that, as the battle goes on, you get slower and slower, as you generally do with them. I wouldn't stop here usually, but I had to pee, so see you later.